Yo, Benny! I don't think he's home, man. Benny, man, yo. Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm MC Savant from the Cankersaurs. You can catch me on funnyordie.com/Cankersaurs, K-A-N-K-S-O-R-Z, you know what I'm saying? But right now, it's all about Benny TV. Yo, because my boy Benny the Gagoots got his own show. And I just want to give a big shout out to Benny. And in honor of that, I'm going to do a dope-ass freestyle, man. So you just got to figure out what rhymes with Benny. 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 What rhymes with Benny? Benny. What rhymes with Benny? Benny. He's in the Serengeti. He's hunting for a Yeti and he's always on the ready. And Benny's always merry when he's eating his spaghetti. But right now he's in the desert, so his palms are kind of sweaty. His good friend Freddie, he brought him that Ben and Jerry. And Yetis, they love the Ben and Jerry. So Benny caught that Yeti and we all threw confetti. Yeah, Benny. Benny TV, baby.
Yeah. Hello, everybody.
Well, every week. Yeah, you're going to lead. And then right as I'm about to talk, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Like the Kool-Aid man bursting through the door of the courtroom. Hey, guys, welcome to Benny TV. I'm not Benny TV. This is Benny TV. How's it going?
How are you, everybody? I'm Benny Rizzuti, and I'm not going to talk for this person.
I'm Tits McGee with the weather.
Is that from a movie or something?
Well, yeah, that's from Anchorman.
I thought it might
That's
be.
when Veronica Corningstone, they say, instead they have the guy saying, Tits McGee. So then she goes, I'm Veronica Corningstone. Tits McGee is out with the flu.
Ah.
So we got a fun show tonight, an impromptu show. You had some friends that were going to come on, but then a Celine Dion experience event. It's like a tour. They're on a bus.
They're on a bus with a bunch of Celine Dion impersonators, yes.
Yeah.
And I think maybe one or two might actually be women.
Yeah, and Kyle was going to come on this week. He'll be on next week. He's actually on a Godzilla bus right now, and everyone's dressed as their favorite Godzilla monster. But he's dressed like Hank Azaria from the Roland Emmerich Godzilla.
Oh, from the Roland Emmerich one,
yeah, he already had the camcorder.
Yeah.
And he always wears a backwards hat, so it was pretty fitting. So tonight it's me and the old man, the thespian and the young kid.
Wow, thank you. The thespian and the.
I was trying to insult myself.
Oh, I was trying to think of like the aspiring.
Dance, ballerina man.
The aspiring ballerina.
Ballerina man.
That's
I'm watching a lot of Mystery Men.
That's from the movie Mystery Men, right?
I made a bunch of my friends watch it that hadn't seen it, and just went on and on about how fantastic it was.
It's a fun movie. Some people don't. It's one of those movies that some people really get a kick. We laughed from the first time we ever saw it.
I remember I was 6 years old. It was not the right age to watch that movie, but you guys let me watch things like that, and that's why I am the way I am, so it worked out. But I remember 6 years old, I came in, you guys were halfway through the movie. And you guys were watching on tape. Just came out, the big rental of the week from Blockbuster. And I somehow convinced you guys to restart the movie from the beginning. And I think you weren't happy about it.
No, I'm sure I wasn't. I don't remember that exactly.
We're talking about like a little over 20 years ago. Or...
Yeah, I don't remember that, but you saying I wasn't happy about it, just knowing me as well as I do, I'm sure I wasn't happy about it.
You're not happy about it, but I remember instantly falling in love with the movie. And it's not the best movie in the world. It's a parody of superhero movies.
What a fun parody, though. It really is.
It's a great parody.
They sunk a lot of money. They got some great actors in it. Who would believe the people they got, they got some great serious actors who camped it up like crazy, and they got some great comedic people involved.
And very soon, within the next couple of weeks, I'm going to have in the new venture that I think next week we're going to reveal everything that's going on with the show.
Yes.
But next week I'll reveal that, and I have something in the works with Mystery Men that's going to be one of the first things with that. So,
cool.
I'm working on that. That's a little tease for the future when it comes to the Mystery Men video. But tonight, that kind of goes into what we're talking about, because tonight we're going to talk about Hellboy.
Yes.
I'm going to review Hellboy. I'm also going to review Dumbo, because I saw Dumbo for the first time, the new Dumbo, last week. on the same day as Hellboy. It wasn't planned. The double feature. And we're going to talk about our weekend. I went to see those movies, so that's what we're going to talk about. But you had a fun past 2 weekends.
Past 2 weekends, I had a lot of fun. I got to see 2 of my favorite bands or musicians from the 70s. And what was great is it wasn't a tribute. I've seen so many of these tribute bands that I finally got to see. I got to see Robin Trower, who, for those of you, you might have heard the name. Robin Trower used to play with Procol Harum, played with a few other bands, but he really came into his own when with the album Bridge of Sighs, which is right over there. And some people don't like Robin for this. I love him for this. It's an influence. He's not copying, but if you like Jimi Hendrix, Robin Trower is the closest of a guitar player who sounds like Jimi Hendrix. But Jimi Hendrix with very jazzy and very different. All his songs are original, but his guitar playing is similar. And it's just Robin.
His style.
His style is similar with some jazz thrown in. Incredible. The man's in his 70s, and he blew me away. I saw him at the Paramount.
At the Paramount.
At the Paramount.
And we have a photo of the Paramount of Robin Trower.
Yeah, and that's cool, and that's what he looks like now. You know, he's a man in his 70s.
He's a hologram.
He's a hologram. He actually... No, let's not, we'll talk hologram maybe if we have time later. Here's a picture of Robin on stage that I took. And if you look closely, it looks like Gilbert Gottfried with a guitar in his hand.
I wouldn't go that far, but...
He kind of looks like Gilbert Gottfried.
He reminds me kind of which is another famous guitarist, of Robbie Krieger. When I saw Robbie Krieger.
Okay, I haven't seen
looks
Robbie. So.
Like Robbie Krieger a little bit to me.
Oh, all right. And behind him, that backdrop, that's the cover of the new album, which we also have on display. That's a new album called Closer to the Day.
And how do you like the new album?
I do. I like it very much. It's very bluesy. It's a lot more bluesier, but I like it. It was fun to. What he did was on Bridge of Sighs and a few other early albums, he didn't sing the vocals.
He didn't sing.
He didn't, but now he does. So he sings the vocals on this one. So he's had these 2 young guys. It's a 3-piece band. The bass player had a great voice, and he sang the Bridge of Sighs. Robin played probably that whole album.
Okay.
And a few other
How long was the set?
About 90 minutes or so.
Okay, that's really... you want over an hour. You want over an hour to 90 minutes. Anything less than it's not... You're not getting your money's worth.
No. And I was satisfied because he opened with The Fool and Me, I believe, which is from the Bridge of Sighs album. And then... So the bass player would sing the older songs, and then so the first song was from Bridge of Sighs. Then his second song was from Closer to the Day, and he only played 3, maybe 4 songs from the new album. Okay. But he played everything I wanted to hear. I was really I was really impressed. He was great to see him, and to see him at and he was a prelude to the following Friday night.
What was the following Friday?
The following Friday, I went to see one of my all-time favorite bands of the 70s. To me, they're like my Beatles, and they're called the Strawbs. And
just like the Beatles.
No, but they're a progressive.
Some may call them the Van Halen of their generation.
Yeah, I call them. No, but the best way to
Fall Out Boy, eat your heart out.
All right, listen. The best way to explain the Strawbs is, those minstrel bands you see in those medieval movies?
Sure.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Or Renaissance Fair?
Yes.
Those minstrel...
I watch Game of Thrones.
Okay. So take one of those minstrel groups from Game of Thrones and electrify them. Electrify them with the keyboard and with the synthesizer board where they can actually sound like an orchestra in it. Because the Strawbs is a band that sounds great with an orchestra behind them, a choir. And so electrify a minstrel band, and that's what you have. Because they started out as a folk band, and they were called...
Like the Mamas and the Papas.
Like the Mamas and the Papas. But they would call themselves the Strawberry Hill Gang.
Oh.
They were the Strawberry Hill Gang, and then
How many stagecoaches did they rob in their day?
They were in England, so I guess you didn't rob a stagecoach. You robbed like a
Potato farm?
That's Ireland. If they were in Ireland, they'd rob a potato farm.
They controlled Ireland at a time.
Yeah, but what they call it? It was a coach with a
Stagecoach?
They had a different name for it. A Louvre? What was it, a Louvre?
I don't know. In improv, you're supposed to yes and.
Yes and.
You always cut me down.
All right,
in my prime.
Let's go. Let's continue.
So you got a photo here with the Strawbs concert.
Yes, and and I was there, and I took that photo, and that was at the Bolton Center in Bayshore. Great place to see. Another great venue, very small venue. The sound was excellent. They were there, and I have a little. Can I tell a quick little story about that show?
Oh, yes.
Okay. We're sitting there about 15 minutes before the show, and this alarm, like a buzzer, starts going off.
Oh, wow.
And a voice starts saying that it's danger, like danger, Will Robinson, danger, evacuate the building. You must evacuate. And then people came from the office and they said, you have to evacuate. And then the fire department came. And after a few minutes, they let us back in. So I asked the security guy, I was smoking a cigarette outside. And he said, yes, don't smoke that in here. We don't want any more trouble. So I said, was somebody smoking a cigarette in the bathroom? And he said somebody was smoking something in the bathroom.
They were smoking something.
They were smoking. People my age, the gall of them. Imagine that.
Yeah, the gall of somebody who would smoke something in a bathroom and let the fire alarm go off. Who, I tell you?
Who? I am.
Who?
I'm baffled.
I'm baffled.
I'm baffled. I know some people.
The gall.
Some people think it was me. I know you probably think it was me. It wasn't.
It was probably you.
No, it wasn't me.
It
wasn't.
I said they got a beautiful alleyway next to that theater.
Yes.
It's got cobblestone. There's nice lighting. The moon is set perfectly. Sun was setting in the east.
It was raining.
A beautiful mist.
Yes.
Among the streets. You have a nice joint out there. There's an awning. Have a nice time. Or go next door into the Cortland. It's very small. Everybody would have joined in. That's how you get a contact.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree, absolutely.
So you had a good time at the concert?
An awesome time.
How was it? Did they play Dire Straits? How was it? How'd it go?
No, they didn't play Dire Straits. That's another group from my 70s faves that I would like to see.
And 10 years after?
Well,
they're more like 50 years after now, right?
Well, Alvin Lee passed away, so 10 years.
What about Simon and Theodore? Are they okay?
Alvin, you were a little flat. Alvin!
That makes sense.
Yes. But Alvin Lee passed away from 10 years after, so they're not the same. I did see them once.
How many years after do they have to wait until they can play again?
I would assume 10.
All right, so that's been the portion of the show where I say jokes and my dad just acts like Hannibal Buress with that dry demeanor. So we got a trailer we're gonna show.
Okay,
that's gonna segue us into the next part of the show. Anything else you'd like to say about the Strawbs or Robert Trower concert before we continue?
See them. If they play in your area, go see them. They're great 70s musicians. They deserve the money.
I'm sure they're on Spotify or in your grandparents' basement in that really dusty locked thing that locked case you never go into.
Yes, we call it a Victrola.
Whatever you call it, whatever floats your boat, old man. All right, so we're gonna go to the trailer. We're gonna be right back.
Cool.
Watch your hands and elbows.
Pardon?
Welcome to the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense. There are things that go bump in the night, Agent Myers. And we are the ones who bump back. Hellboy.
Meet the rest of the family.
Abraham Sapien.
Liz Schumann. It's a beautiful name.
Don't worry, Boy Scout. She'll take care of you.
These freaks, they give me the creeps.
Really?
Every time the media gets a look at him, they come running to me. I'm running out of lies.
If there's trouble, all us freaks have is each other.
What the hell is that?
Something big.
In the absence of light, darkness prevails. 60 years ago, they tried to destroy the world. They're back.
Master. Oh my God.
Behind this door, ancient evil.
Oh, well. Let me go in and say hi.
Are you gonna be okay?
How big can it be?
Wow, and that was the original Hellboy.
From 2004.
2004 also came out in April.
Yeah.
And it said April 2nd.
Watching that trailer makes me want to watch that movie again.
I watched it last week. It's on Netflix.
Oh, okay, cool.
The second one's also on Hulu. So if you haven't seen either of the Guillermo del Toro Hellboy films, they are available on streaming on the most frequented streaming platforms. So I would highly recommend at least watching the first one. I'd highly recommend seeking out the first one. I think the first one is fantastic.
Yes.
I adore the first one. I think the first one is one of the best movies that I have seen in recent memory.
Me too. As far as a superhero movie, it was the first one to actually go super tongue-in-cheek with it. You know, I mean, they got someone out of hell. The hero is Hellboy. He's a little demon. I mean, it's like the coolest thing. John Hurt is John Hurt. Is
Yes,
in it?
John Hurt.
I love him in it. I love him in any movie, but him, Jeffrey Tambor.
Yes.
The cast is great, and the other characters around Hellboy make it so much.
Yes.
Make it so entertaining.
Now the whole thing is just sound. All I do is hear like everything around me. But yeah, I really love the first Hellboy. The second one, I'm not as big of a fan of. I watch it every year to try to like it again.
Right.
And every time I just don't like it again.
It's one of those things where they did it so well the first time that the second time it paled in comparison.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree. Some people like it more. I don't really get it. Some people find it so much better. And I really don't. I think the first one is much better. I think the first one sounds so much better. And I'm sorry. No, I just, my sound is like really bad right now. But I really enjoy the first one. Second one, not so much, but we have the new one just came out.
Right, yeah.
And I was really looking forward to it. We have a photo here of the new Hellboy, directed by Neil Marshall, starring David Harbour, also Daniel Day Kim, and Ian McShane playing the John Hurt role, and David Harbour in the Ron Perlman role as Hellboy. And Mila Jovovich as the villain. Like I said, I really was looking forward to this movie. I'm a big Hellboy fan, as I said. Not as much of a fan of the comics. I like the stories in the comics. I'm not a big fan of the artwork in the comics.
I agree with that. No.
I thought you were saying something.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that, and I feel that the comics themselves are very small for the price. I think that they overprice themselves too, because
Well, I wouldn't really say that. It's the same price as any other Dark Horse comic. I wouldn't really go. I
all
wouldn't
right,
say
because
that they're overpriced.
I was gonna buy them for you at one time. I was gonna buy a gift, and I remember them being like $20.
That's the average price.
But they're thin. They're not like.
But that's the story. That's the length of the story. That's not. They're not going to add more pages. That's the average price for a graphic novel or a trade paperback is $20.
But I feel that you get more for most trade.
I would disagree because there's a lot that are $20, $25 and they're $30 and there's not a lot. And I've seen a lot of Hellboy ones that are really thick. It depends. It's just that's how Dark Horse puts them out. I have some really thin ones that you can go home. I'll show you a bunch of ones that I have that are very thin that were like $20, $25.
Yeah, you see, for me, I look at it and I'm like,
well, you're the person that you don't want to go to the bagel place anymore because you think you're getting ripped off because a bagel and cream cheese is $2.50. You came home, you're like, I'm not going there anymore. They're ripping me off.
Yes, I cannot argue that. But at least on the bright side, I don't buy pizza with a coupon anymore. So
anymore.
I used to be the only guy.
Within the past 3 years, you stopped.
I used to be the only guy bringing a coupon. You give me a coupon for pizza, I'm going to, use it. I'm going to use it. But anyway, that's how I feel about the I also agree that I don't particularly like the drawings in the Hellboy. I'm not crazy about the artwork in it. And then it was so thin, it was like it just wasn't worth it. But I'd like to give a sidebar on that.
We were talking about the movies, and now you're just going into this whole thing about how cheaply made you think the books are.
All right.
When all I said was I'm not a big fan of the artwork, and I thought you were gonna go into something about and you just start going on and on about how cheap it, and you want to do a Benny's Corner about the amount of pages in a graphic novel.
All right, let's leave Benny's Corner, and I'll take the dunce cap off.
Well, I haven't even gotten to start reviewing the movie.
Yeah, I want to hear the review. I really do.
Do you?
Yes.
Or do you want to talk more about how thin the paper stock is on new comic books compared to old comics?
No, the paper stock is better. But other than that, no, I don't want to talk about it. I want to hear about Hellboy, the new movie. I love the original. I'm not a big fan of the second one.
So, like I said, going into it, I have to restart the whole thing I had because you always just take me out by the knees every time. I'm like getting going in the middle of a thing, and you're like, yeah, let's just go 10 minutes on the paper stuff. So I'm not as big of a fan of the comic books, like I was trying to say as I was starting a whole thing. I'm not as much of a fan of the comic books as I am the movies, more the first one than anything, but I do like Mike Mignola as a comic book writer. I'm just not a big fan of the artwork. But for this movie, they had a lot more of Mike Mignola's input compared to the other one. The other ones was more Guillermo del Toro, his auteur-ness going into the movie, and more of his vision than Mike Mignola's. So going into this one, it was supposed to be, this is Mike Mignola's vision. He had more of a say in it. He's a producer on it. He didn't have writing credit, but I did hear one time that he wrote part of the script, but I guess he didn't write that much because he didn't get a writing credit, but he does have a producer credit. And this takes a lot more from the comics. But I wouldn't really say that's necessarily a good thing, because I think the biggest problem with this movie is it feels like they took a bunch of different stories and they kind of just threw them together. It feels like a 10-episode show that at the last minute they said, wait, we got to cut it down to a 2-hour movie. So a lot of it is just cut into different scenes and segues that don't really have any rhyme or reason, and the storyline that connects it is very thin.
I hate movies
it's like extremely thin. And it just feels more like scenes with Hellboy. Because it starts and it has like a little bit of a backstory of the villain, which is the Blood Queen, and then he's in Mexico fighting a vampire, and then he's on a hunt fighting giants 10 minutes later, and then 10 minutes later, he's in a house with feet talking to the Baba Yaga, who's eating kids. And then the next minute, he's fighting a changeling hog creature. And, like, this all happens in the span of 2 hours. And they just keep jumping from place to place. And they try to change the characterization. Like, you can see David Harbour trying to make a different Hellboy. So he's not just playing the exact same Hellboy. He's trying to play it more as, like, a teenager.
Oh, yeah?
And it kind of works. But I remember telling my friend that I saw it with, I'm like, yeah, he was trying to be like a teenager. And he said, that's what he was doing? That's what that was? And they try to bring in more of a father-son dynamic between him and Professor Broom, who's played by Ian McShane in this one, from Deadwood and the John Wick franchise, among many other films. Very popular British actor.
Great actor.
And they try to bring him in and try to he's a little younger, so they try to get more of a father-son, tough love dad environment, and the chemistry never really comes off, so the scenes kind of just come off very wooden, and a lot of the scenes kind of come off wooden, or they're trying to be kind of like Deadpool, and it's much bloodier and very gory, especially compared to the other two, but it felt more like it was just being bloody and gory for gory's sake.
I heard that. I read a couple of reviews that said similar, that it was very gory.
It was very gory, and the scenes were done well, like the gory scenes, but a lot of them just felt like we need to add it to gory because people like it bloody and gory, so we're just going to have like a 3-minute scene of people getting chopped in half. That literally has nothing to do with the rest of the story. Like, Hellboy doesn't interact with any of that.
Wow. Yeah. No continuity.
There's a scene in the trailer. This isn't a spoiler. In the trailer, there's like this big creature walking through and like slicing people in half and stuff. Hellboy does not interact with that creature in any way.
Wow. Why would you do that?
So you just bring that in, but then there's some stuff like you see giants eating people and stuff, which is cool. But a lot of it felt very TV. It felt very like Netflixy or like streaming or like HBO. And the film had a budget of $50 million, and the first one had a budget of $66 million, but that was in 2004. So adjusted for inflation, this one had half the budget of the first one. And instead of trying to be a continuation, it was kind of like going in, like as it starts, it's like, yeah, you already know what Hellboy is, but we're also going to do the origin 20 minutes in too, where they completely redo the whole Rasputin scene and him being reborn, which is like a 5-minute scene that just like begins and ends, and just like, yeah, we covered that. We covered his origin. So you see like Rasputin, who's the villain of the first movie, and the mad scientist assassin guy who's like made of dust. They just show him like this. Oh. And then there's a Nazi with the big 3D glasses on. And then my favorite part of the movie, that scene happens, and it's like they're bringing Hellboy into the world and everything. And then Thomas Hayden Church shows up, dressed in like a fighter pilot, like leather cap from like World War I, World War II, and big black goggles. And they're like, good thing the lobster, world famous Nazi hunter, was here. And he just starts shooting them all in the head, and he's got a brand that's a lobster claw, and he just brands Rasputin in the head. And like, he's like, when you get to hell, tell him the lobster sent you. And then he just never brought up into the movie again. That's it. Just completely dropped from the movie.
I'm glad I didn't pay money to see that movie.
No, it was, like I said, I'm a big Hellboy fan, so I'm happy I got to see the movie. But I would have been much happier if they didn't make this movie, or they made the Guillermo del Toro third film that he always wanted to make, a final film to finish out the trilogy.
Oh, he did that. Yeah.
And him and Ron Perlman really wanted to do it, and Ron Perlman would only come back if del Toro were to direct it. But the studios were like, we only want you to direct it, we don't want you to write it. And del Toro's not that kind of person. So he's like, no, it's got to be me. It's got to be me going in the whole way, writing the story that I want to write to finish out the trilogy that I started, or I'm not doing it. And I want like a certain budget, and they wouldn't give it to him, so he didn't do it. And they said, okay, we're just going to reboot it. And apparently there was a lot of issues behind the scenes during the film. David Harbour apparently would walk off before takes were finished.
Yeah, oh.
And Neil Marshall, the director, was having a lot of issues with the producers to the point halfway through production. In a power move, the producers fired the cinematographer.
Wow.
As a power move to show the director that like they were the ones in charge, so they fired his cinematographer and brought on their own cinematographer halfway through production. So there was a lot of issues plaguing this movie.
Yeah.
And then in all the promotion for the movie, the director has not been seen.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Very little of him has been seen. So that's very upsetting, and unfortunately, it's not a very good movie. There's some fun to be had in it if you want to watch it when it comes out on streaming or HBO or whatever, you want to rent it. It's worth like a rental, not much more than that. You don't really need to see it in theaters. It was already a big bomb this weekend.
Yeah.
It only made like $12 million, so it did really badly. And it's unfortunate, but it got really bad reviews.
It did. I read a few of the reviews.
It's not the worst superhero movie any ever made, like a lot of reviews are saying and stuff like that, but it's not a good movie.
Yeah.
But it's not the worst movie ever made, but it's not good.
With all the superhero movies that are out nowadays, why waste your money on one that you're hearing bad press on?
Exactly. And then I saw another movie on the same day, and that was, which came out a few weeks ago, was Tim Burton's Dumbo. I'm going to have some photos here. Dumbo starring Colin Farrell, Michael Keaton, Eva Green, Danny DeVito, who was like second or third billed in the movie.
Cool.
And of course, the big elephant himself, Dumbo. Also known as Baby Jumbo. And then the J falls down and becomes a D. And that's how he's named Dumbo. So yeah, I thought Dumbo sucked.
You did, huh?
I really didn't like Dumbo. And I wanted to, because I want Tim Burton to be good again. And I'm more so than anything, I'm a big Danny DeVito fan. And it's the finishing of the trilogy of circus films with Danny DeVito and Tim Burton.
Oh, okay.
You got Batman Returns, Big Fish, and Dumbo.
I never looked at it that way.
So it's the finish of the circus trilogy.
That is so cool. I never thought of that.
He wasn't a ringleader in Batman Returns, but he was a ringleader. He almost kind of was, but he was definitely a ringleader in Big Fish.
And Big Fish, yes. But in Batman Returns, they were their own circus.
Yeah.
Him and his cronies were. So yeah, then Big Fish, which with me with Tim Burton, it's hot and cold. There are times I really look forward to a Tim Burton film and I'm disappointed. And then I wasn't really looking forward to Big Fish, and I was impressed by that one. That one
I love
liked
Big Fish.
a lot.
Big Fish is my favorite Tim Burton movie next to Ed Wood. I would say Ed Wood and Big Fish are my two favorite Tim Burton movies.
Ed Wood is a cool movie. That's cool.
I love Ed Wood.
I like Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow?
I thought he did a great job with Sleepy Hollow.
I can never get into Sleepy Hollow. It's another movie kind of like Hellboy 2 where I always watch it to try to like it, and it never works.
Oh, I like it. And of course, there's Pee-wee's the early works, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Beetlejuice, and the first Batman are entertaining. But now, he did Alice Through the Looking Glass or Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland.
Terrible. He did Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, which I thought would hopefully be a return to form. And I thought that was very meh and meandering and more him just making a young adult movie because that's the thing to do now. I despise his Charlie and the Chocolate Factory remake.
Right, yeah, I agree. I remember when you came home, you just despised that one.
I remember Mom left the theater, because I saw it with Mom because I was little. Yeah. And Mom left the theater. My mother left the theater and was outside with a bunch of other parents who were all like furious of how bad the movie was.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
there was like 4 or 5 of them being like, can you believe that this movie is as bad as it is? And some people like it and have some redeeming qualities. I really don't like the movie. I tried to rewatch that one as well, and I don't like it.
I know. With Tim Burton, you for some reason you expect, because visually he's fun to watch visually.
But even so now, he doesn't have the same visual. Like, I feel like Dumbo is the most apparent, because a lot of it is like CGI, and he doesn't really know how to handle CGI as a director, I feel like.
Okay, yeah.
And they have him do these big effects movies, and I feel like he doesn't know how to handle big effects movies anymore. Because they're very different from, like, Sleepy Hollow. It was all practical sets. It was all practical. There was special effects, but it was mostly practical. I feel like he's good in a practical setting.
I agree. Batman is all practical.
Batman's all practical. Big Fish had a lot of practical in it.
Yes.
I feel like he's best when he's doing a practical movie. When he's doing a movie that has a lot of CGI and CGI characters, I feel like that's where he falters.
Yeah.
And I think this film faltered a lot. I know some people really like the whole thing that it feels like an anti-Disney film made by Disney.
Yeah.
Because very much Michael Keaton plays like an evil Walt Disney character. So some people like that. I thought Michael Keaton was okay, but I feel like I've seen him do much better in worse films.
All right, wow.
And Michael Keaton's also an actor that in the past couple of years you've seen him shine in movies like Birdman or The Founder or Spotlight. And he's fantastic in those movies, and especially The Founder, where he plays somebody he plays Ray Kroc, who starts out as this nice guy who evolves into this evil person. And I think that movie's fantastic because of Keaton's performance.
I agree.
And I guess I was expecting that kind of performance, and I didn't really get it. He's kind of just, I'm evil, I got a cane. And Eva Green, I felt like was kind of just typical insert Eva Green character here. She's like the new Helena Bonham Carter. Like, she plays the roles Helena Bonham Carter would have played 10 years ago.
Oh, man.
Like, she was Miss Peregrine in Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, which is a role that Helena Bonham Carter would have played 10 years ago. And Danny DeVito plays the Danny DeVito role. He's a 10. Best part of the whole movie. So Colin Farrell was kind of miscast. And I think it has to do with the original choices for the film was Will Smith was going to be the Colin Farrell role, which I think the film would have been a lot more interesting if Will Smith was in it, because he just brings something to a role like that. And instead of Michael Keaton, it was supposed to be Tom Hanks.
Oh, that's interesting, yeah.
And I think Tom Hanks would have brought something to a role, and they're both people that haven't really worked with Tim Burton, so I would have liked to see that. This movie felt like he called every single person except for Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter. Because it's Eva Green, who's been in movies with Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito, Alan Arkin's in it, in a small role, but it's nice to see Alan Arkin doing another movie, because, you know, he's getting a lot older now. So it's cool seeing him.
Alan Arkin is still great and everything. And when you said that, you reminded me of probably what a lot of people consider a classic Tim Burton movie, Edward Scissorhands.
Yes, which Alan Arkin is in.
Is in.
So that's why I said he just called a bunch of favors.
Yeah.
For a movie that he shouldn't have needed to, because it's Dumbo, which is like a really big property. But I've always been like, I don't really know why they were doing Dumbo again. It's very different, but I feel like a lot of the character stuff was not very good. And overall, I thought it was a very not good movie. I liked it less than I liked Hellboy.
And why would you? I agree with you. You know, why redo a movie that was an animated classic? Mm-hmm. Okay, leave it that way. And the movie, the animated film is like barely an hour long, right?
Yeah, it's like 62 minutes, 64 minutes, something like that. It's like, well, back then that was like a normal length for a movie. Back when it came out, 80 years ago, because that's one of the oldest Disney films.
Yeah, I know.
But this is the year where there's 3 big Disney remakes coming out from varying levels of directors, and it starts with Dumbo. Then next month we have Aladdin.
Oh, okay.
And then I forget if it's June or July, we have Lion King.
Oh, yeah, and that Lion King looks awesome.
And then at the end of the year, we have another sort of remake, but it's a sequel, and it's the second Maleficent film.
Oh, all right, there's another
Nobody
Maleficent.
cares. Nobody cares about Maleficent.
I didn't care about Maleficent.
So that's why I barely even think of it. But you have Aladdin, directed by Guy Ritchie, who's a director I used to love, and in recent years have fallen out of grace, similar to Tim Burton. Especially with he's another director that I don't think really handles big special effects driven movies very well. And I think he's better in a smaller, more practical setting, because I think his best films are his first 2 films, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch, which are nothing like Aladdin.
Right.
But he got Will Smith, so we'll see how that goes as the genie, which has a lot of ballyhoo about it.
Didn't he do a King Arthur movie?
He did the King Arthur Legend of the Sword, which is fantastically bad.
Yeah.
And he also did the 2 Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes films.
Right, which I wasn't.
There's parts of them I really like. I think a lot of the action is done well, but I'm not a big fan of those movies.
No, me neither. I'm not a fan.
I think they're great 3 o'clock TNT on a Sunday movies. That's what they are to me. That's what the Sherlock Holmes films are to me. Rudy commented that he thinks that Tom Hanks and Will Smith would have been great in the film. I think it would have been interesting. I think it would have been a lot more interesting to have them than Colin Farrell or Michael Keaton.
I agree.
Although I love Michael Keaton and I love Colin Farrell. I just don't think that they were really fully. Maybe it was the direction. I'm not entirely sure, but they weren't fully into the film. And I'm a big Colin Farrell fan.
That's something we don't know about Tim Burton either, because all directors are different. Some directors tell you exactly how they want you to play the role.
Yeah, some
directors are like, you'll find your way. You're Colin.
Exactly. So that really depends. A lot of people saying hi. Christian says hi to us. Hi, Christian.
Hi, Christian. Hi, Rudy. Rudy, how you doing? Thanks for watching.
Hey, Zach. Hey, Ernie. Benjamin Frankel's watching the show. Yeah, I wasn't that big of a fan of Dumbo. And I'm kind of sort of looking forward to Aladdin. Not really. I don't really think it's going to be good. But the last trailer looked a lot better than the previous stuff. So I'm kind of looking forward to a little bit more. And Lion King, I'm really looking forward to.
I'm looking forward to that. The trailer looks awesome.
And that's directed by Jon Favreau, who, in my opinion, has only made one bad movie in the past 10 years, and that was Cowboys and Aliens.
Right.
Other than that, I love the first Iron Man. Iron Man 2 isn't the best movie, but I don't think it's terrible. And then I love Jungle Book, which was his last movie.
Jungle Book was great, and when Favreau showed everybody could do a low-budget movie with Chef.
And Chef. Chef is fantastic.
I will watch Chef.
Well, he started doing low-budget films, so that's where he came from. And then he did movies like Elf and Zathura. But, yeah, Chef, I think, is fantastic. I love Chef. Chef's one of my favorite films of his. And then he showed with Jungle Book that he can handle these big special effects-driven films really well, and he's using that same technology for Lion King, which is why I think he's the best of the 3 directors suited. Because he did a successful remake already. Tim Burton already did a Disney remake, but it was successful financially. It wasn't successful critic and audience-wise.
Right.
Which is shown by the fact that the second Alice in Wonderland bombed, and some people think that one's better.
Oh, wow.
A lot of people agree that the second one is better than the first one. I couldn't sit through it. But I'm looking forward to those Disney films coming out. We're gonna show a trailer right now.
Cool.
For the Jackie Robinson film, not 42, the other Jackie Robinson film, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about what yesterday was in baseball. So we'll be right back. Here's the trailer.
Starring Jackie Robinson as himself, voted the most valuable baseball player in the National League. Minor Watson as Branch Rickey. Richard Lane as Clay Hopper of the Montreal Royals. Ruby Dee, star of Anna Lucasta. Louise Beavers as Jackie's mother. Billy Wayne as Clyde Sukeforth, scout of the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Now I'm playing against you in a World Series, and I'm hot-headed. I want to win this game. So I go into you spikes first. You jab the ball in my ribs, and the umpire says out. High flare. All I can see is your face, that black face right on top of me. So I haul off and punch you right in the cheek. What do?
That's the Jackie Robinson story, a rich, compelling saga of the great American game, and of a man who played it according to the rules and earned its most cherished reward. It's big league all the way, in its roaring baseball thrills, its warm human drama, and its bold, inspiring courage.
Wow, the Jackie Robinson story.
One of my favorite biopics.
With a young upstart actor. What was his name?
Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson. Playing himself.
Playing himself. Which
is very rare.
It's rare. It's been done.
It's been done, but it's rare.
It's rare, and he did a great job with it. He really did. Ruby Dee, who went on to be nominated for a film by Ridley Scott movie.
American Gangster.
American Gangster. She played Denzel Washington's mom.
And it's funny you brought it up because you know what I was watching yesterday? American Gangster. Because it's on Netflix and it's a really good movie.
So yeah, Ruby Dee plays his mom and she plays Rachel Robinson in this movie. I really enjoy this movie. I love 42. Don't get me wrong. I think 42 and Harrison Ford's performance are awesome. But this movie is just there's a real feel-good feeling about this. And the fact that Jackie Robinson went through hell, being the first African-American
yes, he did.
playing, and then somebody comes up to him and says, Jackie, how would you like to be in a movie showing everybody the hell you went through? And he said, yeah, okay.
Although I'm a really big fan of Chadwick Boseman's performance in 42.
Yes.
I think he's fantastic as Jackie Robinson. I really enjoy that movie. But I like the Jackie Robinson story, but it had some dated stuff to it.
Yeah.
But it's better than the Babe Ruth movie.
And Babe Ruth, the Babe Ruth, the Babe?
Yeah, no, not the Babe, the one, the Babe Ruth story.
Oh, okay, the Babe Ruth.
The other older.
With William Bendix as Babe Ruth, yeah.
Yeah, you know, that guy, everybody knows
a 40-year-old
that guy.
man playing a kid. He was still in.
Yeah, he's supposed to be like a 15-year-old, and he's a 40-year-old man. Yeah, what's up, Pop?
Yeah, Papa, I'm leaving the orphanage and I'm going to.
I'm leaving the orphanage. I'm going to the miners. Can you watch my 3 sons for me? Yeah, so I'm not the big fan of the Babe Ruth movie. No. I like the John Goodman, the Babe, more, but I have some issues with that.
Yeah, I have issues with that.
I'd like a new Babe Ruth movie.
Me too. I would like a good Babe Ruth movie.
So another movie, it's not a biopic about Babe Ruth, but Babe Ruth does play himself in Pride of the Yankees.
Yes.
Which is a biopic about Lou Gehrig.
Lou Gehrig. With, Gary Cooper, who looks and
it's fantastic. It's a great movie.
It really is.
It's a great movie. It's also very dated, but Babe Ruth plays himself in that film, which I think is very cool.
And that was awesome.
But it's not the best biopic about an actor playing himself.
Yes.
Space Jam. Because that's all true.
Oh, okay. That all really happened?
That all really happened.
All right. Okay, if Michael Jordan if that was a biopic of Michael Jordan, then I would have to say that. I would have to agree and say that's
pretty great biopic.
One. So that really happened.
Yeah.
From Moron Mountain.
Yeah, true story. True story. You didn't see the based on a true story at the beginning? It's inspired by a true story.
Inspired.
So maybe there was some liberties taken.
Well, Bill Murray played himself too in that.
Exactly. He goes da 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 da, and he got it because the producer of the movie's a friend of his. But speaking of Space Jam, I don't know if you heard, they're having issues now with Space Jam 2.
Right.
Because none of the big NBA stars want to be in the movie with LeBron.
Wow.
So LeBron's having issues with getting other stars into the movie. So Ryan Coogler, who directed Black Panther and Creed, who's a producer on the movie, has to rewrite the film.
Wow.
To compensate for the fact that none of the big name new young guys want to take time out of their training camps over the summer to do a movie with LeBron, including Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm probably pronouncing his last name wrong. The Greek freak from the Milwaukee Bucks, who's considered the best new young player. He said, no. He's like, I'm focusing on my training camp. He's like, I'm not going to go shoot. He's like, I don't care about Hollywood. I care about the NBA and winning the championship. And a lot of these young guys are like, maybe if you focused on the team and not Hollywood, the Lakers would have made the playoffs this year, and Magic Johnson wouldn't have stepped down as the head.
Wow. Okay.
So,
and now you brought up Space Jam. So, That is a beloved movie.
We'll see what happens with the second one, because I think he can get Dwayne Wade to probably do it. He's retiring. Maybe Carmelo Anthony. So he'll get his old friends who just retired to be in it.
All right.
So
okay,
they'll rewrite it. They'll probably work something out, but that's just an interesting thing that they were trying to do what they did with the last one when they had, they had all these like big name stars of the time, like Patrick Ewing in it, and Charles Barkley. And a lot of them now don't want to do it.
Derek Harper was in it.
Yeah, a lot of big name stars. But Spud Webb, which he's fantastic because he was like the shortest guy in the NBA.
Yeah. No, but yeah, that movie. That's why I think this one won't be as good. That movie was relevant, and then you even had Larry Bird, seeing him and Larry Bird on the golf course together. That movie. That's one of those movies, again, like we said earlier. There are some movies you shouldn't try to reboot or do
they're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, and they're going to do it anyway. They think that they'll get kids who want to see it.
But let's talk about yesterday in baseball.
Yesterday in baseball was Jackie Robinson Day.
It was Jackie Robinson Day, and what's the significance of Jackie Robinson Day?
Significance is it was 72 years ago yesterday that Jackie Robinson first set foot on a major league field and played in the major league. So it was his anniversary, and everyone wears number 42.
Not everyone. You have a choice.
You have a choice.
Except if you're on the Dodgers, everyone has to wear 42.
The Dodgers, but it seems like more and more, it seems like all players want to participate.
Want to be a part of it.
Want to be a part of it. The number was his number was retired. I forget how many years ago now. If it was 15 years ago.
I think it was. Yeah, it was a long time ago because the last player that was allowed to have 42 was Mariano. And he retired 5 years ago.
Right, and Robinson Cano, for those of you who might not know, he was named after Jackie Robinson.
Yes.
That's
not named Jackie Cano.
Not named Jackie
Robinson Cano.
Robinson Cano.
And that's why he wears the number 24.
Right.
In honor of number 42.
Of number 42. And which is funny, but I think I like it if everybody. It seemed like yesterday I was watching the Mets and Phillies, and everyone was wearing 42. And then the Dodger game I recorded, and like you said, in Dodger Stadium they do a big thing.
Oh yeah.
And rightly so. Rightly so. For everything the man went through, and the fact that not only what he went through, he was an amazing baseball player. Mm-hmm. He was an amazing player.
He was a great player.
Great player, and at the time they said the two best base stealers during that time were Jackie Robinson and Phil Rizzuto.
Yes.
Were the two guys were very speedy on the bags.
Mm-hmm.
And he did all the right things. He was Rookie of the Year, right?
Yeah, he was Rookie of the Year. He was I don't know if they had all-star games back then, but he was like an all-star. He was one of the most popular players. Him stealing home is still like one of the biggest feats that they talk about to this day because nobody steals home.
Nobody, yeah.
So the fact that he stole home, and now they've changed how the game's played, so I don't know if it's easier or harder to steal home now that they can't guard the plate like they used to. So I don't really know if it's easier or harder to do it now, but that was a fantastic thing to see.
Yeah.
And that was like the highlight of like 42 when with the way they film and shoot it, and they show the kid in the crowd being like, he's going to do it, Mom, he's going to steal home. And they show Jackie Robinson stealing home, and it's shot very well. I'm a big fan of that movie.
Me too. As I said, I'm a big fan of that, but I enjoy the Jackie Robinson story. And to see Jackie play it. So he's telling his story to everybody that I went through this, and he approved it.
Yeah,
and it was really, and there were a few differences, but as you said, the 42 is a great movie. They really did a good job.
Yeah, so we wanted to take some time to honor Jackie
Robinson.
Robinson at the end of the show.
Yes,
and I'm very happy that we have a Jackie Robinson Day.
Me too.
So
Me too.
I'm happy that we had another trailer, but we're not really going to be able to get to it for time issues. But that's okay. It's not the end of the world.
No.
That's why I scheduled the trailers the way I did, so we made sure we got the two ones first. But it was a great show tonight.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Had some fun. Getting lost in the wilderness with you.
Look, that's the way I am. I'm a wildebeest. I'm a wilderman.
I've noticed.
I'm the Benny the Wilderman. What?
Benny the Wilderman. All right, so that's our show. We're going to see you next week where we're going to talk about monster movies.
Monster
We're
movies.
gonna do a
Oh,
monster
cool.
movie episode, and then we have some good and bad announcements coming for the show. Mostly good. Just some changes. Some changes to Benny TV.
Cool.
New name, maybe new location.
Yeah.
Some different stuff, but we're going to tell you all that next week.
Next week.
We'll see you next week. Stay frosty.
Be cool, everyone.
Soon. Have a good night.
Take care.